There is only one thing on this earth more powerful than evil, and that's us.
Hi, I'm Nicholas Brendan.
Hi guys, this is Claire Kramer, aka the Great Glorificus.
Hi guys, this is Charisma Carpenter from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, your favorite bitch on wheels.
Hello boys and girls, this is Spike. You're listening to Buffy Back Issue Bin. Don't turn it off or I'll rip your throat out.
Welcome to the Buffy Back Issue Bin, the show where we went through all the Buffy and Angel comics that were canon chronologically. I'm Zach.
And I'm Emily. Good job changing that. Well done.
I knew there was going to be a summary. I thought about that like 2 days ago.
Huh.
There's so many, I don't know, some talking points that I was like, I'm just going to not tell you these in person.
Did you write them down?
No, they're just locked away. But yeah, welcome to our final episode ever. That being said, if you're a creator that hears this and like this is an open invitation, if you still want to do an interview about your stuff, we never did one, shoot me a tweet or an email.
We'd be happy to.
We'll come back one more time.
Yes, we would. Because, we just walked downstairs to our basement.
That's true. And it's Corona time.
Yes, except that both of us are still working.
What a time to end a podcast when people are in need of more content.
Sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
But we've always kind of pitched it as a finite show. And yeah, this is the end of that finite. That's not a sentence.
That was not.
I'm so glad that
I was just going to let you come to that.
End the show being bad with words.
Good job, Mr. English major.
I'm a paid writer. And I'm like, words, man, what are they?
And an English major.
They come in the order sometimes. Sometimes they don't.
You said they come in the order sometimes.
I said a order. A order.
Great.
Divorced.
Great.
That's how we end this podcast.
Oh my gosh.
With being served divorce papers.
By whom?
I don't know. Who serves divorce papers? Is it like a notary?
I don't know. Remember that Marriage Story movie that we watched? And
yeah.
They had to have her sister serve the divorce papers?
That's a good movie. I liked that a lot. But we're not here to talk about...
That was a depressing movie. It was very sad.
It was also like super real.
It was very sad.
I could tell a lot of those fights weren't like made up off the dome. Top of the dome, the head. You're so glad to be done with this. So many faces you're making at me.
We watched a lot of movies the weekend that we watched that, and they were all depressing.
What are we doing here? We are here to say goodbye.
Tell you about the movies that we watched.
Do a retrospective part 2. We did one before that was mostly focusing on the comics, and we'll probably talk about those a little bit, but to be honest, after this many episodes, for the most part, I think we've kind of said everything we need to say about them.
We've said a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
to be fair.
There's some things like here and there, like maybe we could have expanded on this or done a little better here and there. Like maybe,
It was probably rough at the beginning.
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, before we get into this, what I would like to do beyond anything else is really send out like just my greatest thanks to all of the creators that worked on this. In particular, I mean, obviously, like Whedon for starring it up, but guys like Georges Genti, who carried the style and the tone so well for so long, creative teams like Christos Gage, Rebecca Isaacs, Brian Lynch, Franco Uru, Chris Rael over on the IDW side of things, like, and certainly, I mean, and the rest. You get that Gilligan's Island treatment. Not really. You're all like amazing. For the most part, this was a great run for so many years.
In many iterations as well.
Yeah. I mean, this series lasted kind of quote unquote in canon for 11 years. And, I was there for all of it. And I went on this ride and we got to talk about it. And seriously, the amount of like work and love that went into it. We've said it before, but who knows how long ago it was. Like this book didn't read like a licensed property. It didn't read these books, I should say. They didn't read like people just coming in to do jobs. When you're reading things of like high quality, like of this nature, you could tell the difference between a paycheck and when people are just having fun. And the majority of this just screamed fun.
Yeah, and everything was done with such care and such love, and that's what made it fun. That's what made it fun for us. That's what made it hopefully fun for you guys. And that's what made it last for so long, because it was loved. And the fact that it ended the way it did, it ended...
It didn't end, I mean, it was because of Disney getting
but
Fox, which isn't the greatest way to do it, but still.
But what they managed to do with 4 issues is incredible.
I can't believe they wrapped up that Dark Willow stuff and brought back like Gates the Monkey in the library.
Okay, I've said Bad Willow enough that I actually think that's the real option. I forget that the actual thing is Dark Willow.
Naughty Willow.
I don't like that.
Bad Willow is funnier.
I don't like that.
Oh, but it's just so much 100% just heartfelt, like, thanks and appreciation for the people that kept this going and were doing it so well for so long. And who are people who I'm such fans of now. Like, when I see people's names pop up on projects for stuff that's outside of Buffy and Angel, I see these names, I'm like, ooh, I'm going to check that out. Just because I've become such fans of just the creators that worked on this. Like, I want to see their other work and I want to support it. It's all just so great. And for any listeners to this, I'd encourage the same thing. Like, this torch was carried and it was carried well for so long. Like, please continue to support the creators and the people behind it, because hell of a job was done.
And the creators have been so incredibly kind to us as well, to do interviews with us or saying hi at shows, and just like, it's so incredibly kind. The level of
even just like retweets and like conversations on Twitter, like, I can't believe like the response we got from creators, also from listeners. Like,
thanks guys,
blew up like way bigger than I ever thought we were going to do numbers wise. It's not like, we were one of like the top podcasts on iTunes, but we had thousands and thousands of people listening to our ramblings.
So thanks for that as well. That's crazy.
Which is wild. The scale I put it on is we were doing better numbers than season 11 of Angel.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Let's not talk about season 11 of Angel.
Our numbers were better.
Let's not talk about season 11. But just the whole thing has been far more than we ever hoped for or imagined when we started this project. And
yeah, this was a lot of fun. I mean, and like we said the last time, like, wrapping up, it's not because of like any negativity or anything, but the show had a focus and we did it. We kind of completed it, and I don't have a ton more to say about any of this, unless you have questions, and I'll answer them.
Yeah, because otherwise, guys, guess who answers the questions? It's me. And guess what? I just make up answers sometimes, most of the time.
Do you have any highlights to kind of look back on?
One big highlight was definitely, I think we talked about it on the show. We got to meet Georges Genty in person at the Granite State Comic-Con last September. Is that when that was?
I don't remember what it was.
In New Hampshire. And he was
still
so
in business.
Incredibly... Wow, that was dark. That was really dark. He was so incredibly kind to us, and he hung out with us for a while. And
what was wild about that is I sent him like an email maybe a couple months before. I'm like, oh, hey, like, we'll see you at the show. That'll be fun. And then like he sent us an email like the night we got there. He's like, you guys want to hang out? I'm like, yes.
And just what a kind and interesting guy, and full of great stories and full of love for this whole comic and this whole world. And so that was definitely a huge highlight. So thanks for meeting us.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was definitely the highlight of that weekend, and just
yeah, which is interesting because
to hang out,
your other
shop,
great
all that other
love
stuff.
I mean, you have a couple great loves, but one of your other great loves is the Turtles, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and that con was also very Turtles focused. It was just like all of the things that you love.
The way I pitched that show to you, I'm like, if I wasn't going to this as a vendor, I'd go to it as a fan.
Which is high praise. I don't know if you guys have picked up on that or not, but that is high praise.
Because I don't usually want to go out to cons as a fan. I'm like, eh.
But now we would go to a con if cons were there, just because. Actually, that's the irony, is the first con that we were going to go to, not as vendors, was in April.
Got canned.
So it got rescheduled, so we'll be there.
We'll see.
Yeah, but anyway, that was definitely a huge highlight. I don't know. I liked the interaction. So I liked talking to the creators. I liked when we had interactions from you guys, when you were kind enough to reach out to us.
Yeah, and 99% of it was really positive.
Yeah, definitely.
The Chris Royale interview was a lot of fun.
We did that one in the store.
We did, because like
it was during my April vacation,
and I had like between like I think it was like he had to like get his kid to the bus stop, and we could squeeze it in for like an hour before the store opened.
Yeah, so we were just sitting there in the empty store, and
but yeah, it was great.
That was a great interview.
That was a lot of fun. I really like the one where I just did like a 50-something page document summing up everything.
You spent so many hours working on that, and when you first pitched it to me,
I didn't. I just cranked it out as fast as I could, and I presented it to you as like, it's not in the show. I'm like, this could be a guideline, like these are some of the talking points, and when I wrote it, I didn't mean for it to be, but it just turned into our script. You're like, I'm not speaking more than what you wrote.
Oh my gosh, guys.
Like, all right, I guess we're just gonna.
It was so much.
We're gonna read this as a script, even though that's not how I intended it to be. They were just meant to be rough notes.
Wait, did you do that one on Google Docs or did you do it on the notepad?
That one I did on Google Docs.
Thank the Lord. Guys, for the longest
We
time.
don't have Microsoft Office.
Well, yeah, that's fine. A lot of people don't. But he refused to embrace Google Docs like the rest of the world and would do it all on the notepad on his really sad little PC. And so it was like the weird font, and it was like an HTML document or whatever. Anyway, it was weird. For a long time, that's what it was.
Something I've been doing kind of over the last, not even a full week, is to prep for this, I listened back to our show almost in its entirety at like 2 times speed. What I'm doing for work now, I got about 10 hours a day where I could be listening, just have headphones in between the car ride home and at work. So I've just been like burning through our show. And overall, like, I was like going to this, I'm like, I think I'm proud of the show. Then I listened back to it. I'm like, I could redo some stuff.
But isn't that everybody's reaction to anything?
Number one, I mean, the way we're recording right now, it's not perfect audio, but the audio we're recording is still pretty high quality at the moment. The majority of our show is like on an old setup, and I hate it so much. I'm listening back, I'm like, this is garbage. This is garbage audio quality, and I take a level of pride in, like, trying to produce things well and all, but oh my god, we went for so long with a terrible like microphone setup, and I'm listening back and you're saying all this stuff. I'm like, did you remember to turn the microphone on? I don't even remember what microphone you're talking about. It's been so long. What microphone was that?
Good times in the basement.
But it's just one of those, is like, man, I wish we had this at higher audio quality. Also, some stuff for me personally listening back that started to change like towards the end of season 8, because I mean, I've been doing podcasts for a little bit, but definitely earlier in my run, it would be like, I felt like, there had to be like a face and a heel, and I wanted to
what anyway keep going.
That's just a duo combination. There's like the positive one and the negative one, and I felt that's what that term is. I don't know what you want from me.
Okay, anyway, keep going.
But I felt like I had to like play up this whole, like, if I wasn't saying things that were like off the wall, then people would lose interest. And I'm listening back to it.
Like a shock jock kind of situation.
Not that bad.
No, but
I'm listening back to it and I'm just like, oh god, that's so cringy. Like, the least interesting parts are when I'm like, this is stupid. I'm like, and I'm hearing it. It's only been a couple of years, but I'm like, my god. To the point where I was like, because no one can tell when I update a file, where I'm like, I'm so tempted to, because I still have the original files. Like, I just want to recut these and take out all that dumb stuff. Because, like, what's the point of this? Why did I think this was the interesting take? So it got better. Like I said, I listened back to so much of this, and I'm so sick of the sound of my own voice on 2 times speed. So it's like a chipmunk.
I actually think it's so funny when you play things like that.
But like around the time, like towards the end of season 8, it kind of like started to take a turn where I thought like things got better, which is too bad because like I love season 8 and I love After the Fall, and I'm just so like
over the top
playing up a character. I'm like, if I don't say something like wild, then people will lose interest. And it's so cringy to me now. I'm like, ugh. And even some of the language I was using, I'm like, it's only been a couple of years. I'm like, that's not good. You should do better. Do better 3 years ago, me.
You actually brought up...
It makes me cringe in a big way.
Not...
But please revisit our show and share it with everyone you know.
Quite in the same way you mean. But you brought something up the other day, and you were like, do you remember the Oakland thing?
Yeah, the Oakland thing.
And I was like, no, I don't remember this.
So I said in an episode, I promised, or I said like maybe on our last show, I will admit to what my Oakland flub was. Because there's a point where Andrew is living in Oakland, and Emily, at every possible opportunity, to be like, and in Oakland. But the first time Oakland showed up in the books, my brain, it read Oakland, knows what Oakland is, but just went to Oklahoma. So I made I don't remember what it was because I deleted it. But my comment was like, why does Andrew live so far away from everybody? They're all in California and he's in Oakland. And you're like, yeah, in Oakland. I'm like, yeah, in Oakland. And then it clicked. I was like, oh, God, I got to cut that. That'll never come up. So at every possible moment, you're like, and in Oakland. And then you giggle to yourself. And no one else who listened had any context.
Kind of like Mosaic, aka Mosaic.
I admitted to that one at least.
And the reason I can laugh at these things is because as a kid, read a lot.
Like because you're a dumbass and I can laugh at you. Ha ha ha.
No, but as a kid, I read a lot and I would sometimes make up characters' names. I would just decide how they were pronounced in my head and roll with it and never tell anybody about it. But occasionally I would get it just terribly wrong. There's a book series called Redwall. And
what's funny is I think you discussed this on the show, but I cut it.
Did
like,
you?
I think you did it like 3 times and I just cut it every time.
Well,
now is the time to let it live.
Anyway, in Redwall, there's a main character named Matthias, but I called him Matthias.
I did the
which
same
makes
things
sense
with
to Matthew and Matthew. Like I still believe myself.
I did that with Animorphs, where it was Tobias, but I didn't know anyone named Tobias. I read it as Tobias.
Like Mosaic.
Except Mosaic's a word. That's the
and
difference.
Tobias is a word.
I didn't know anyone named Tobias. It was Tobias.
And also in Redwall, the main villain's name is
I don't remember.
Cluny. How do you pronounce that?
Cluny? Clooney?
Thank you. I called it Cluny. Evidently, it's Clooney.
That's no George.
Anyway.
Was that Rat the star of ER and Batman and Robin?
You're right. He was a rat. Well done.
I so vaguely remember Redwall. It's been a long time.
Anyway, that's very off topic, but we all make pronunciation
There we go.
errors.
There's the Oakland admission. Also, I guess if we're just kind of like clearing the air with everything, basically, if you're a creator, not that one. I saw your face. We'll get there. I'll find a way. Yeah, basically, if you were working on anything like chronologically that happened before like the end of season 8, and I just did something over the top, I'm sorry. I was trying to keep people engaged, but it just sounds stupid, and it's my fault. I could have found better ways around it.
Do you want to do
reoccurring segments that I thought were fun? We did a million Hamilton references.
Which Hamilton is going to be out on Disney Plus on July 3rd, so guys, now's your chance.
You going dun 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 for everything.
Why not? It's a good sound effect.
I still wish I made a t-shirt for watching boys die.
Oh my gosh.
Cute Devin likes to watch boys die.
I'm so glad that you didn't. That's really positive. I'm glad you have no artistic skills.
I could have made a t-shirt.
With what? With
just,
a Sharpie?
It would have been, I could have ordered a text-based shirt.
Oh my
it wouldn't have been a picture.
Oh my gosh.
We actually had quite a few others, like when I was listening back to it, but now I'm kind of blanking on them for whatever reason.
I don't know. I only ever heard it in the raw format, so I never actually know what got cut.
Kind of looking back at the whole series of comics, I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again, just kind of sticking to it. The biggest disappointment, I mean, Buffy got to end really well, and I feel like almost every possible loose end was tied up, but Angel got the short end of the stick in a big way.
Yeah, and you do love Angel.
I have 3 sticking points. 1, I still hate that Connor and Gunn just disappeared. Especially Gunn, who got like, I picked you up at the airport and then I got coffee.
Okay, I'll roll with that one.
Still bugs me that Fred and Spike never got an interaction.
Yep.
Post her return. And there was one issue we did where it was like a filler issue. It's like where they go to a hotel where there's some like bellboys that are possessed. But instead that issue, and like Angel gets the call at the end of this one shot, which was not great. And the whole issue, you were the one that pitched it. You were like, this just could have been like Fred and Spike on the phone. I'm like, that's so much better. And yeah, I mean, it's a missed opportunity that never cross paths.
Yep.
And then, of course, the Shanshu, which is the biggie. The literal driving force for the Angel show that just got dropped with occasional mentions. And we get no resolution on it. And I guess on the Buffy side of things, that I understand narratively why she didn't end up with Spike or Angel. It's like, she's her own. Because, I mean, we talked to Christos Gage about this. Like, yeah, she is her own person. And that's more important to, like, end the show that way, especially when it's all about, like, changing the world and finding herself and all that. I understand that narratively. At the same time, I still want to know, what boy does she pick?
I mean, I think it's pretty clear.
Should it be Spuffy or Bangle?
I don't like that. I don't like that you did that.
When I said those names the first time, you were giddy about it.
I don't like it now. It's too much. I think that she ends up with Spike. Not with Angel.
Be my guess. Also, I'd like to throw in a retroactive thing because I was like listening to this literally this afternoon, talking about like our coverage of season 12 at 2x speed. When everyone's kind of doing their like, calm before the storm moment, I'm going to say Willow and Faith hooked up. I think that was just off panel.
Okay.
When I was listening back to it, I'm like, we don't have to see everything. I think they totally hooked up.
What did I think?
We didn't talk about it. We just said like, hey, it looks like we're maybe going to, but then it's a 1-page thing and it goes to something else. I think they hooked up.
Okay. Duly noted.
Doesn't all have to be on the page.
Nope, but duly noted.
I don't know. It's just kind of crazy to think about. Like, this was such a pioneering kind of book, like bringing kind of like official canon to comics from TV or movies, and it went for so long. It definitely lasted longer than anything else that was kind of in the same vein.
Yeah, and I think,
especially coming from creators.
We also did the Firefly stuff here, and I think it's fair maybe to say that Firefly would definitely not have had as long of run as it has had.
Yeah, and it's a bummer that trilogy didn't get completed.
That's
a killer.
Without Buffy being so successful in this medium.
But, I mean, the difference is Buffy is going to come back on TV eventually. There hasn't been any news about it in a while. And I'm not going to consider it canon. It's going to be different creators. I mean, even if, like, Whedon's, like, overseeing it or whatever, it's, like, it's different people doing it, where this is so many, like, show writers doing it and then kind of passing the torch to other talented writers. This is going to be the canon on my mind. I don't care how many actors you get back, especially since one's, like, Sarah Michelle Gellar and David Boreanaz were like, no, we'll never do it.
Yeah.
The Serenity, it is a bummer that the Serenity stuff didn't ever finish, but also we're in such a world of like reboots and remakes. And while I was like, for so many years, I'm like, Firefly already came back once. It had a movie. Is there really a world where it doesn't come back in one form or another?
Yeah.
At this point, it just feels like an inevitability.
Especially because it was such a unique idea, something that hadn't really been tried before. And
it's coming back, I'm sure, at some point. I would find it hard to believe that it wouldn't get a third or fourth bite of the apple, depending on how you want to look at it.
Yeah. Yep.
So when I was listening back to our coverage, I got through a lot of it. The one thing I couldn't bring myself to listen to was our interviews, because they were a lot of fun, but at the same time I was mortified doing them, and I wouldn't want to like listen back. Like, what if I like asked a stupid question or said something? I couldn't bring myself to listen to them.
That's fair.
You're already so tense about this. I just putting it out in the ether. We had one interview where I had a verbal flub, which is nothing bad, like nothing negative was said. It just implicated myself on nothing bad. I was trying to make a joke and it didn't work. And you've leaned so far away from the microphone. In the interview, we just rolled with it. Nothing bad happened. And then you made fun of me for months about it. Like, I can't believe you didn't hear that when you said it, just because I worded it so wrong. And they rolled with it and they were so cool about it. But I just wanted to throw it out there if they happen to hear this. I don't know. Because you told me I couldn't be explicit. Can I just say what it was?
No. Okay.
Oh my God. I just want to,
on.
just let me do it. That's for an audience of one.
I guess our last thank you is really to you guys for listening, because
I feel like we already did that. They've been thanked enough.
I will thank you again. Because, well, let's be honest, we probably would have done this in our basement anyway. Had you guys not been listening, it would have not really been for anything. And we certainly would not have gotten to meet all the cool people we got to meet.
And it was a lot of fun, like hearing feedback and getting people sending us emails or tweets or like seeing stuff like on message boards. Like, it was cool.
Okay, least favorite part. I did not enjoy going up to the various actors and getting them to do the promos for us.
We split that 50-50. Only one of them charged us for it. Guess who? That was $40.
Only one of us got the actor's name wrong. And only one of us is so mortified about that to this day. Anyway. So
it's funny, I've interacted with all of them and I could have done them all.
Yes.
But you still did 2 out of 4.
Because you were like, they're going to like you better. You're nicer. You go do it.
Well, maybe the other one would have charged me $40.
I wasn't at that show. I couldn't have done that
You're
one.
You're narrowing it down. I don't want to call anyone out. And good for them for making money. It still cost me $40.
Anyway, that was also a weird note to end on, but I just felt like I needed to say it. Guys, everything about this show has been great except for that one moment in which all of the shame I felt. It was a funny look on that actor's face, though.
Calling someone
in hindsight.
Nicholas Hoult.
We'd watched a lot of X-Men right before it. It's not my fault. Anyway, so yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking with us through the good and the bad and the everything in between. And
is there anything you'd change that we did? I'd change most of the stuff like leading up towards the end of season 8 and also higher audio quality.
Is there anything I would change that we did?
And also my one verbal flub, my interview flub.
We started this at a time when we both had some spare time in our lives, and then very soon after, all of my spare time went away.
So we were doing this at like 10 at night or like 7 a.m. on a Sunday.
Guys, I would have worked literally. I would get to work at 7:15, and then I wouldn't get home until 10 o'clock at night, and then we would record. And then I would have to get up the next morning at 5:45. So if there are some times, I remember literally falling asleep at this microphone a couple times, like just in the middle of a sentence. So I think that's the only thing I would really change, was just our timing, our lives, being more on top of our lives so that we could do this at a better time for us.
We recorded like 10 episodes in advance ahead of time before we even started releasing it. And that wasn't enough of a buffer. That caught up to us so fast.
It caught up literally on the worst weeks. Like, we would be on top of it.
And then I'd be like, we got to do like 3 shows in 3 days. Let's get on top of it again. And
oh my gosh.
Then we'd be like, we'd run out of it. I'm like, we got to do 3 more shows in 3 days.
Oh, man. So yes, that's, I think, the only thing really. It was fun.
Yeah, the scheduling. I think we did it at what I am positive will be like the busiest time in our marriage.
Yes.
Hands down.
Yes.
Like me running a business and you working.
And grad school.
2 jobs plus grad school.
It was a lot. But hey, it was fun, guys. So we're glad that you listened.
Yeah. One more big shout out to like the creators, especially the ones that stayed on it for a good long while. It was so much fun to just watch people like get progressively better. Not that, people, especially the long time people, had like a bad start, but like still, the more you do it, the better you get. And just watching that growth and getting to experience it and just getting high quality storytelling was such a treat.
So on that note, I think it's time.
I'd like to announce our next podcast. I've been pitching you a different show for like 2 years.
I have a year left in my master's program. 1 singular year.
I've been pushing for a second show. Like, we could do this.
And I have been pushing
back for
my master's.
Maybe we'll get to do another one. I still want to. Sometimes I get like really fired up about it. I'm like, yeah, we can do this. And then you're like, no. Not right now.
Not right now. But maybe someday in the far future.
Not that far.
In the far future.
We got these sweet microphones now. Look at the setup. Look at this pro setup.
Oh, yeah, because Jared doesn't even come over anymore to podcast right now because pandemic.
Because of quarantine.
So, anyway.
I know that microphone's getting unused. It's a over there, sad alone.
I don't think it's sad. You could also switch. You could go between the 2 of them.
No, this one's at my height.
We're basically the same height.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, I think we're done.
Yeah. So
thank you.
It's been fun. It's been quite the ride, and we're really glad that you guys were along with us, and we hope that you had fun listening to us too.
Show's not going anywhere. It's going to stay up on the feed and all that good stuff. But yeah, share it with people. Hopefully people will continue to find it and enjoy it. Yeah, I don't know. It was fun.
So hope to hear from you guys soon, and we'll talk to you later, I guess.
The thing about changing the podcast landscape is...
I give you a really nice send off, and then you're like, but I'm going to also keep talking.
We kicked some ass.
Great.
Thanks for hanging out.
Great. All right. Bye, guys.